This edition of NE10 Now, the podcast, focuses on men's basketball. We are joined by, as we speak, the leading scorer in the Northeast 10 at 25 points per game early on in the season, Justice Ellison from AIC. We are just a handful of games in, but congrats on the hot start. Walk me through what's going well for you.
Thank you. I think a lot of what's going well for me is a lot more confidence. This being the second year here, a lot of figuring things out and understanding certain things where my game translates to the NE10 in the competition. Um, but along with like coaches having that same trust back in me and my game, and my teammates having that same trust and being able to work with them, it's definitely helped big time. From last year to this year, it's been a big transition for me.
Tell me about that learning process. What have you learned about yourself that's allowed you to excel this year?
Um, I've definitely learned that like in this league, you have to have a strong mindset. Things don't always go the way you want them to, but you got to keep a positive mindset and understand you got to keep pushing and keep going no matter what the score looks like, what your stats looks like. It's just a mindset and a mind game of you got to keep pushing and keep going because there's so much time left throughout the game. And I think that's a big thing that I've learned within myself and I've grown through mentally through the years is to keep going, keep pushing myself, no matter if it's a good thing or bad things going on, just keep going.
We'll knock on the nearest piece of wood here, but you are shooting 46% from three here in the early portion of this season. You've made 12. You made 17 all of last season for AIC. Talk to me about the growth in your shooting and the work that's gone into that.
So last year, like I said, it's kind of a mental game. Um, I think I struggled. I struggled at the beginning of that season last year. It was like my first 16 I missed, which is crazy in itself. So I started kind of mentally getting down on myself and getting upset. Um, but this year, I think it was a lot of preparation. Summertime, a lot of work in the gym, constantly shooting. Um, and I think it really translated to this year, as you said. Um, it's been it's a mindset and letting myself know even when I'm 3 for 4 or 0 for 4, you got to just keep shooting and keep going, understanding that um, you're doing your thing.
How many shots did you get up a day in the summer?
Oh, I don't know the number, but it was a lot every day, sometimes twice a day. So that was part of the transition was constantly working and not giving up on that portion. So yeah, a lot of shots.
When you committed to AIC, the tweet that said that Justice Ellison is coming referred to you as a high flying guard.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about the moniker of being high flying and where that comes into your game.
I think the high flying portion of it is a lot of like attacking the basket. Um, I like to drive. I like to get downhill. So the athletic part of me and my game definitely helps um, being able to get up high enough to shoot over different defenders and finish at the basket in different ways that um, certain people can and others couldn't because of athleticism. Um, so I think that's where that definitely comes in. It's a big part of my game, I would say, of like the athletic portion and being able to finish and drive and dunk and do certain things like that. So it's a big part and it's fun.
You said the magic word because I feel like usually when somebody says high flying, there's some sort of dunking history that gets attached to that.
Yeah.
Do you have any great dunking stories?
I think my greatest dunk that I've had, um, it was in high school and we played a team at home. Their names were Maloney, and we came down. It was a fast break. I don't know where I got it from. I don't know what made me do it. It was a fast break, and I was on the right side going towards the basket. I see the defender out of my eye, like coming towards me, and I kind of just like reverse cradled it as he was coming to block me at the same time, and I made it, and everyone, the whole gym lost their mind. It was like I didn't expect. I don't know what made me do it, but it was by far the craziest thing.
I feel like those reactions are like what you live for, especially as a high school basketball player.
But
Um,
it was the best, best feeling.
Tell me about your background in basketball. We were talking before we started recording. Your dad played, so when it runs in the blood, when
Yeah.
did you first touch a basketball? When did you know this was going to be your thing?
I would say around 5, 6. I've been around basketball my whole life. Like I said, my dad played for UConn, and we had family friends that played in the NBA and traveling around with them. So I've been around basketball my entire life. So I kind of knew from the jump that's kind of what I wanted to do. Um, it's just been something that I've always been around and picked up kind of naturally. So um, from that age, around like 5 or 6, when I started going to basketball camps and started doing things like that, traveling, I felt like there was something I could run with and maybe one day make a job out of it, hopefully.
You're
So
you're not a small guy, but your dad was 6'7" in his heyday. I
yeah,
imagine he's still probably 6'7".
yeah.
What's it like going up against him in the driveway? And do you remember the first time you beat him?
Yes, actually. So a lot of times in the driveway, it wasn't very fun for me playing against him. Um, he's a big guy, tall, and he was athletic as well. So a lot of driving, he would block a lot of the shots and make it hard for me. Um, but I definitely remember beating him for the first time. I think I was probably 14, 15, so a little far out than I wanted. Um, but it was a good feeling because of knowing how good my dad was during his time and the respect that he's gotten, being able to beat somebody like that. I know it's not as serious, but being able to beat him still kind of was like, hey, I'm coming, like I can do this. It's gonna be something big. So it was fun.
Do you think that's where some of the athleticism and like the ability to finish comes from? Because like in the driveway, I've got to beat a legit guy that's bigger than me, and I'm 13 years old.
Yeah, definitely. Being able to do that, try to finish over somebody like him, and on top of he was a very big like mentor for me, trainings and everything like that. So he kind of instilled that in me to be able to finish around the rim and get up as high as I can, and the workouts, the weights, the you name it, he was on top of it with me. So he definitely played a big role in my game today.
You talked about being around some NBA guys through that as well. And we joked before we started, your dad played at UConn as a freshman on the same team as Scott Burell, who is
Yes.
now a head coach in the NE10 at Southern Connecticut State. Tell me a little bit about going up against one of your dad's friends and teammates twice a year in college.
It's funny. It's funny because I never I never got to be around Coach Burrell a lot growing up, but they know each other and they're pretty close and cool with each other. So it's like it's a full circle moment now seeing him twice a year, ending up in the same league and everything like that. It's funny because after games they come up and they talk to each other and they joke about what just happened in the game, and it's kind of it's cool to see from my point of view to see that their generation of where they are and me being younger and my dad's son. It's cool. It's very eye opening to see.
You started your career in Connecticut. You started at Southern Connecticut, or you started at Central Connecticut rather, and then transferred to AIC last year was your first season. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you to now be at AIC and what for you is most fitting about the Division II experience and being able to thrive where you're now at.
So being at Central, um, it was again eye-opening. It was a Division I level, traveling and seeing certain things that you don't get to see at Division II. Um, it was a very good experience to be there and to see. I did redshirt that year, so I never ended up getting to play at that level. But I would say the transition to the Division II level, the NE10 is very, very well respected in basketball and is a very good league. Um, so I think the transition of being able to be at Central and have that year, I think it helped the transition of coming over to AIC. But AIC has been really, really good for me. I've learned a lot here with these coaches, day in and day out. They're on me. They're making sure I'm growing as a player and doing what I can, uplifting the next guys. So I've learned a lot of things here that I wouldn't trade. A lot of lessons to be learned. We were very young last year, and the season didn't go as we wanted last year, but we were very young. So lessons came with that, and a lot of understandings. So it's nice being here because I'm able to do this with a very good group of guys and good coaching staff. So I love it here. It's great,
especially coming out of high school in the recruiting process. I feel like there's a certain amount of like, no, I'm not going to play Division II.
right.
But then when you get to where you're at now, what is that eye-opening experience like to say, like, okay, I am challenged. Like, this is a great place to be.
See, I always say this with my family and my coaches. A lot of guys coming out of high school, it's always like it's either Division I or bust. And I don't think at one point I felt the same way, but being able to come to the NE10 and see the high level that everyone plays at, you start to have the understanding that that's not the case at all. You have teams that can compete with Division I teams and Division I conferences. So you have guys playing overseas, playing professionally. It's definitely something that I would like more guys to understand, is that like coming to the Division II and not making it to Division I, it's not a bust at all. And great things can happen for you in the Division II level, just like it could anywhere else.
Let's talk about some of the great things that may be on the horizon here. You guys are a week removed from a really nice win over Bentley. So you're starting off your conference slate on the right foot. How do you build from that? And how do you get to ultimately where you want to be in 4 months' time from now, or 3 months' time from now?
I would say for us, we need to just stay grounded. We had a big win, like you said, against Bentley, who's a very, very good team, very well respected. And that was our first time beating them since 2016. So us able to do that was very exciting and motivating for us. I think, again, like last year wasn't the greatest year, so people had their ideas of what AIC basketball was going to be. And I think us being able to beat a team at their caliber, it shows that we can really do something here, not only now and within this regular season, but hopefully if we make it to the postseason and after that tournament time, we can really make a run at something and put the whole league on notice.
Well, Justice Ellison, you're off to a pretty good start in that area. The leading scorer at the NE10 at this point in the season. And as we record this, the player of the week. So congratulations on the hot start and best of luck keeping it going.
Thank you. Appreciate it.